Great, great, great. Okay. You play with such attention to and care to beauty and rounding the edges, and you always have sounded beautiful in the last week. But I'm going to mess you up now.
Okay.
Because my feeling so far with everybody is, for myself, is to find the right sound that fits the character. So in other words, I'm trying to never play like myself. I'm trying to play like what I think this guy is doing. Mm-hmm. So, how would you describe this movement? How would you describe him in general and this movement in particular?
This movement is, well, he was losing his hearing when he was writing this, so it's filled with sorrow and like no hope. No, yeah, but mature sound, yeah.
Mature, okay. If you were losing your hearing, you would be kind of angry, wouldn't you? Okay, and frustrated and so you said just sorrow, but I think it's more than that, okay? Now, tell me everything in the music that tells you that. Tell me about his tempo. Tell me about his markings.
The tempo is presto.
The tempo is presto.
There's lots of staccato.
There's lots of staccato. Mm-hmm. There's lots of what else?
Fortes and pianos.
Fortes and pianos. There are a lot of sforzandos. And what about the relationship of the two instruments? Is it a polite, my turn, I'm going to play for a while and then you play for a while?
No.
What is it? It's a quick back and forth, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of quick voice exchange and interruption, okay? Mm-hmm. So I find you much too polite for this music from what you just described. Mm-hmm. Okay, so first of all, presto is an unusual marking for him. Mm-hmm. This sonata has the nickname of being the little Kreutzer.
Oh.
And you've heard the Kreutzer sonata, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a wild piece. So this is a miniature Kreutzer. Mm-hmm. So presto is, when I learn a piece of music, I say, well, what else could it have been? It could have been allegro. It could have been allegro vivace. It could have been vivacissimo. Mm-hmm. But what is presto in relation to other fast markings, character-wise, to you? Play once allegro. Okay, now play allegro vivace. Okay, how about allegro molto vivace? You get what I'm driving at? Okay, how about allegro vivacissimo? Come on, go, Nicola. Okay, and now presto. Okay. Okay, so a tempo is a character. It is not a number on a metronome. The same way dynamics are a character and not a decibel level. Presto has a danger to it, like it's going to be derailed. I want to derail you in the next 15 minutes. Okay, now the other way I want to derail you is when you talk, he only wrote piano, pianissimo, forte, fortissimo, which again, therefore means mezzos, if mezzos are conspicuously absent, that means piano is not so soft and forte is not so necessarily so loud, so you have a big distance, right? So all your pianos, could you think about that P stands for present or paranoid or something other than pretty? Okay? Because all your pianos tend to relax. Both the sound and your pulse tend to relax, okay? Conversely, When somebody repeats something, when you talk, do you talk like this? This is really exciting. This is really exciting. This is really exciting. When you say something repeated, don't you say it with more something?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you add 3 times as if you're talking like a crazy person?
Okay.
Not a really nice girl? Okay, so can we try one more time, a more dangerous tempo, which means on the front of the beat, interruptive, as you said. I mean, as we said, you're going to exchange, and you're going to add what I would call baby dynamics. In other words, levels, okay? Good. Excellent. Once. And. Twice. And. Last time. Tempo, tempo, tempo. Tempo. Now you can stop. Okay, now, here's the other thing. I feel like you want to stop a lot within the music. Could we make a deal for the next 5 minutes that you don't stop within the music, you stop when the music stops, like in the rests? Because that's actually much more exciting than quasi-rhythmic, okay? The other thing is, just like in the Brahms, if you know it's dance material, you treat it one way as opposed to singing. I don't know if you were here for the last hour, but what is the one melody in this movement? There's melodic material, but there's really only one melody. What's the really singable thing? Well, you play that like the melody, which is what I'm getting at. It's melodic material, but it still has rhythmic focus, that. Isn't this really the only sort of tune? But even under that, listen to the piano part. Can you just play the piano part under the second theme? Left hand. There's constant motion in this movement. So even a melody is not the opportunity to take a bath, go out for a coffee and a cigarette. It's not a way to relax, but it's relatively relaxed. However, this is really just motivic music. So can you not see it as a way to let all the air out and, oh, finally, oh, I can play nicely. Okay, so the rhythm it's going to sound strange to you, but I would always bring out the small notes, not the long notes, because long notes are acoustically heard anyway, right? And we also know that on this instrument, the minute a long note is played, it's over. So instead of us singing, can you release all your notes so that it sounds that you're actually playing the same music? Okay, so how about, that was good, the beginning. Are you sweating a little now? Can you play the beginning one more time for your most exciting version? Good. Rhythm, 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 rhythm. Stop. And then rhythm again. Rhythm. It's hers. Almost. But what's his signature marking that nobody had written before this guy? Crescendo to subito piano. I always say if it feels bad, it's right, okay? You almost play to the bar line, but at the end you say, no, I couldn't possibly make a bad sound and have a heart attack. But if you actually play to the bar line, it causes a mild coronary, which is what I think he wants. So could you try dare to play all the way to the end of what he wrote, okay? How about from... Okay, so I hear much more of the E. Try one more of the D sharp. To the end. Yeah, so it is not acoustically possible to play in time, something like that. That's not interpretive time, that's just acoustic time. So let's just decide it will take a certain amount of time. And, yeah, now do you hear that? That you hear, can you play you and your left hand right here? Okay, so I know you're trying to play together, but it actually doesn't sound together because you sound like a violin. A violin does this. They wish they could do that. They wish. They pretend. But can you make a fast decay on all long notes for the rest of your life that you play with one of these people? Okay? And then you actually have to re-articulate the little notes because these people, they put the fingers down. They have to actually make the notes. And we sort of smear in and out of everything. You know, this feels great. Oh yeah. Actually put them down, okay? Right there. Okay, now. Can you make sure that you speak the little notes? Because it starts to sound relaxed, even though I know you're not, okay? Which is good. Just one thing. A very fast crescendo from piano to fortissimo. We haven't had a fortissimo yet, right? Okay, so this better be your most. So the crescendo has to happen actually at the end of the measures, not in the long notes, because they can't grow in long notes, okay? Crescendo, fortissimo. Good. Rhythm. Good. One. Oh, chicken. I give you permission to play what he wrote. It will feel horrendous, I promise you. Now, this is good. The only thing is, harmonically, it moves rather slowly around here, right? So, Nicola, do you mind playing just the chords in the development? And now here. Yep. Right? So it's how many bars at a time? What did she just do?
4?
Well, in an ideal scheme, yes, but it's really 2 bars per harmony, right? So instead of showing me every note, can you try playing with no bar lines? And so, yeah, organized, like I feel like you want to be in control. This does not look like control here. And when you have a conversation, the second person in is rarely an echo, right? Unfortunately, you're a violin, but can you fight her a little bit more here? How about right on the development? Development is double bar, but you can start here. Two bars, you're the last one. Okay, now, it was so good, except for you have a little bit last note shyness, you know? Oh no, I couldn't possibly. Let's just decide that you're gonna play all the way to the end. That was great, by the way. The last one, come on, Miray. Tempo, good. Rhythm, great. Small notes, small notes. Third time. Yeah, so sometimes you get caught in the wrong neighborhood, right? Because if you're over here, oh my God. I would say you should, my feeling about how much bow to use is only what you need and not what you have. So I know you have one of these, but it has to be proportional to the tempo. and the note values that you're in. So even though it looks like a long note, or even the beginning, those look like long notes, right? Because they're white. But in this tempo, I can do this. So even here, can you stay really in the speed of the music, right? So even these, I feel like you're in danger of luxuriating a little bit. So how about where that started? And your only goal is to sound like that instrument, because these sonatas were written for piano and violin. It's not just because my parents were pianists. Okay. So a case like that, when you have a repeated note, try to re-articulate a repeated note, because even right here, it sounds almost like one long note. Okay, so you don't need so much bow. Good. Second time. Come on, Miray. Third time. It's okay, it doesn't matter. Small, small. In one. Okay, so now you have all this chasing. There's very few measures that are actually together in this movement. So my feeling is that if you're on the front side of the rhythm and you're chasing each other, the few moments that are together, you could actually hold. And by the way, here's where I'll give you my father's greatest trick. He was a great pianist, great musician. He used to say, if you cannot play louder, play later. So here's you have like 5 fortissimos, right? If you place that last one, which is actually together, and kind of hold it, it will sound 10 times as loud. Because timing is what makes strength. Volume is not what makes strength, okay? So you're allowed to rush like crazy and then add time there, okay? How about from here? By the way, this is where it's 4 bars at a time, harmonically, right?
Yeah.
So you should feel that the harmony changes here, not here, okay? Different. And now, good. So the first note was good, but then you always have to re-articulate the little note. That's the one that will make or break it. 4 bars, new chord. And now together. Good. No, don't relax. Oh, you want to beautify. Oh no, I couldn't possibly go on like this for too long. Does that sound relaxed to you? No, good. Okay, so how about right there? Okay, so you love your long notes. Could you love your small notes, your short notes more? Good. Together. Okay, now, yeah. He did not write a retard, right? What did he write? A whole lot of nothing. Now, of course, if you want to take a hair of time, but it's not for relaxation, right? So actually, it goes all the way. Let the piano do it, because the piano has continuing music, right? But if you do, it's over, it's over. Now this theme, listen. Can you listen to the accompaniment of the next theme? Duddy, duddy, diddy, buddy, buddy, duddy. So that's actually a godjig. Duddy, duddy. One doesn't hear the long notes. One hears the small notes. 6-1, 6-1, 6-1. One hears the fast notes. So that's where all the energy comes from. That's where the presto shows up in this movement. So could we try getting into this once without going out for a coffee? Yeah. Okay. How about from? I have no idea if it's time. Is it? Oh, 5. Okay. Let her do it. Okay, now that. When I see this, I know it's over. Because you've literally just let all the air go, right? Can you keep it? Because if you play this, there's no sound left. But you haven't gone to pianissimo yet, right? No. But this is like al niente, to nothing, right? Keep some tension in. so that you can go on. Keep it, keep it, keep it. 6-1, 6-1, so it's 2, oh, it's also here. Yeah, sure. 6-1, 6-1, good. This is rhythm also, rhythm, rhythm. Yeah, so this is harmony and rhythm. I know it feels so good to me. Oh, good, I can sing now, I can sing now. No, no. She needs rhythm at 6-1. I mean, I'm exaggerating, right? But don't use it as an opportunity for a bath. Okay, right here. 6-1. Good. Good. And this is the other time in the movement where it's actually together. So here I would not play too fast. I mean, I would play full note values, right? Now we're about to get the axe, but I want the one last crescendo to subito piano so that you can feel bad before you leave, okay? How about from here? Right? Chicken, chicken. Do it in the last note, not the second to last note. Good. Yeah, now this retard I also would not mathematically organize and finish. I would do it by the big beats and not ta 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 ta. Because if you stop here, this is not a surprise that it goes on, right? Yeah. By the way, the person with the more important part should always lead these things. End of story for chamber music also. Okay, so you have the first, you're important. This is yours, this is the piano's. It's the piano. It's all the piano there. So how about you lead this? To the end of the measure. Good. Chicken. But this is pianissimo. Yeah, now, the reason that's not together is because you play like a violin and you sneak into this. The poor girl, she does this. How about just the last measure? And isn't that pianissimo?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now can you scare yourselves? That is not a scary rest. Now, there is something funny about this. It's an interruption, harmonic interruption. That's not a continuation. So can the second bar be even more surprising than the first? Pianissimo, pianissimo, pianissimo. Go. Good. The only thing is, this is piano, and this is pianissimo. Can it be much clearer that the length of the rest should depend on what's coming next, right? So how about the last? Don't move. Piano, nothing. There you go. And then what happens after that?
Fermata.
Yes. Why would he write a fermata after the movement is done? For God's sake.
It's more dramatic?
Yes, the tension is still being held. So you should play through the fermata, okay? Not just, oh, now we're done. If it feels bad, it's right. So please dare to play what he wrote, even if it doesn't suit your own aesthetics, right? Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful, great.